Hello, is this Insert Gambino here with a new stream. And this stream I'm going over the event week for this week in Grand Theft Auto Online. So apologies for not doing it yesterday, but apparently the Rockstar servers were on like limited status for a lot of the like afternoon, so like at least half of Thursday it seems the status of their servers were limited. Because I wanted to do the stream at some point, like yesterday I did get on it, but like the online just wasn't working. It was like something with the files required character 1, whatever the fucking hell kind of excuse they gave me. And I like load up the game 3 times just for like the loading screens to appear like as they usually do, which was weird. So yeah, apparently Rockstar servers were on limited status yesterday, so I did want to do it yesterday, but couldn't kind of because of that. And I even checked at like 3 AM today even, and it was still like that. But it's been working normally for a while now, it seems, so now I'm doing it, of course. But yeah, starting off with the title, of course, there's a $500,000 gift for the entire month of May. Couldn't go into very much specifics in the title, because I didn't have much characters to work with. So I just put GTA Money 500,000 gift, but do know it goes for the entire month of May, as it says on the newswire. Of course, as I do for my weekly tradition, I do go over all the event weeks, whether they happen before or after the newswire. Pretty much mainly just do them before anymore if there's a vehicle release, to be honest, or something major, usually at least. Yeah, going to the method of spectators, triple money and RP on business battles, and 2 times money RP special cargo, and 40% off the B11 strike force, and then off the facility for the rest of it. I cannot fit in the title and the spectator. I'll be going in details of that. But pretty much everything obviously is on the Rockstar newswire. I'm just going to be going over like my strategy with like the money opportunities and like the discounts and stuff. That's the unique kind of stuff I cover on these streams. So if you want some strategies on the money opportunities and like what I think of the discounts and stuff and how useful they're going to be, and if I would consider investing into them, that's what the stream is for, of course. And podium vehicle, by the way, is the Pegasi Reaper, I'm pretty sure it's called. And personally, first thoughts on it, I would say, is I definitely don't think it's going to be very worth going for the Reaper. I believe it's been highly outclassed, of course, since it's a pretty old DLC vehicle at this point, of course, from like 2015, 2016. I think it's a 2016 DLC vehicle from like, I think it was from Import-Export, I'm not sure, on the Reaper. So yeah, it's pretty old and outdated, so yeah, it's probably not going to be very good for performance. Might talk a little more about it once I show it off on the Legendary Motorsports, though. And also I already have a Reaper, because actually it was a Twitch Prime reward as well at some point. Also, I like how they colored it orange, because it kind of gives a Carolina Reaper kind of vibe. So I like that personally, and it's pretty cool that they chose orange for the color. This makes me think of Carolina Reaper, where like the hottest like spicy pepper in the world, pretty much. At least I think it is. Wait, it might actually be the Trinidad Margarita Scorpion. I'm not fucking sure. The Carolina Reaper is still pretty hot regardless, I would assume. Unless it's changed for the hottest pepper since I last got that shit. Stealth utility vest. Nice. Works very well for me. I wonder if it's one of the original Heist update utility vests, like the heavy ones that actually allow you to sustain more damage in regular heists. Sadly, they didn't return that feature in Doomsday Heist, and I don't think it really matters for Casino Heist. Besides for the finale, if they even work in that, and if you can even really use it in the Casino Heist. Which I still haven't played fully. But hopefully sometime this month I may finally get into some miscellaneous, like, streams of, like, the last couple DLCs, of course, for this game, and Red Dead, of course, for the latest DLCs. Still need to do that. I've just been playing a lot of, like, other games and stuff recently, to be honest, because, like, now is a very good time, honestly, to play my game collection I haven't really, like, played much of. With all the stuff going on in the world, it's actually a pretty perfect, like, opportunity to finally do that. That's kind of been what I've been doing the last, like, 2 months or so. That's why I haven't been as active the last couple months, at least. Aside for these event week streams. Pretty much the last thing I've done was the Invaders Way review, I think. Aside for these event week streams. And also, of course, fucking college gets in the way, so that's another factor for why I don't do much aside for these event week streams most weeks. Alright, where is it? I think it's Import Export, right? No, it's not, apparently. I actually think it's Finance Felony, actually. Oh yeah, it was right above the 811. So, a podium vehicle, if you get it, will save you about $1.6 million, since honestly this week's nom gets a discount just about any single time there's a podium vehicle on. Any podium vehicle, for the most part, isn't usually on discount, aside for a couple on rare occasions. So yeah, by getting it, you'll save about $1.6 million. There's no trade price or anything, so that goes for everybody. But yeah, like I mentioned, I'm pretty sure it's pretty outclassed, just simply because it's a DLC vehicle from like 2016. Obviously, there's been quite the bit of supercars released after this supercar. I can't really recall on its top speed how good it would be, but it might have an average-ish, like, lap time, of course, but obviously if you're not really using the top tier stuff, you're probably not going to be very good in the go for races, so you're obviously much better with, like, a Emirates, a Krieger, a CDRR, or, like, the Wagner, I believe, are the top used supercars for lap time. And that order I went through, by the way, was greatest from least, by the way. So those are the top few, like, non-raceable ones for lap time, from what I can think of on the top of my head. Yeah, sadly, this is a pretty outdated supercar. And also, like I've mentioned kind of earlier, it was actually a Twitch Prime vehicle at one point. So for those like myself who's been a Twitch Prime member, like, since the initial, like, Twitch Prime exclusive discounts, the Reaper was one of those discounts for one of those event weeks, of course. So yeah, because personally for me, I've been a Twitch Prime member since they've done the Twitch Prime discounts. I got one at a very cheap price, obviously. So not being a podium vehicle isn't really going to be helpful for me in particular, and other people who had Twitch Prime at the time this was on discount for that week or two or whatever. So yeah, if you've been Twitch Prime pretty much since the beginning, its value is definitely a lot more decreased, I would say, for the podium vehicle. But yeah, before I go any further with this, I want to just simply check my audio and make sure that it is working fine. Most times it does, but there's very rare occurrences where it will not. But yeah, I'll be checking it right now. Alright, it's fine. So yeah, that's my opinion on the Reaper. Is it's obviously pretty outdated since a lot of supercars get released quite simply. So yeah, over time a lot of supercars just simply get outdated. Also, it's one that survives the test of time, like, very rarely. Yeah, like I said, pretty cool that's actually orange, because I feel it's kind of like a nod to the, like, Carolina Reaper or some shit, like that spicy pepper shit. I wonder if that is the basis of the color for why they chose it. I don't know, it could have just been a simple color they thought was cool on it, I don't know. So yeah, premium race for this week is a sign of things to come, which is for the motorcyclist class. So yeah, top few motorcycles I can recall for a lap time. I believe when it comes to motorcyclist class, the top speed and lap time are very similar for the first few. So the top few options pretty much for the motorcyclist class is as followed. The best one to use would be the Shotaro, since it has really good cornering, of course. And it's also best in lap and top speed for the motorcycles class, from what I recall. So Shotaro is pretty much going to be the best bet. If you don't want to go for that $2 million motorcycle, though, there's one like under $1 million called the Hakuchou Drag. That one's basically like right underneath it. By the way, with Shotaro, you can get like the boost of speed. You get your like best speed by leaning forward or backwards with the stick. I think it might be the only motorcycle that works like that, if I recall right. And Hakuchou Drag, that one you have to lean forward with the stick. It's one of two motorcycles, in addition to like the Nightblade that work like that, where you have to lean forward with the stick, since you can't really wheelie with a drag motorcycle. But either way, Hakuchou Drag is basically the second best option, and third and fourth ones I believe are the Body 801 and then the Akuma, if you don't want to go for those, which those are like 10,000, so those are good like entry vehicles if you want like the third and fourth best like motorcycles. So motorcycle class is obviously a very accessible class, since there's simply like quite cheap motorcycles that are still very good in the game. That's definitely good for that premium race. It's also good in general for time trials. Any of those four would probably basically be very good for just about any regular time trial as well. Also, by the way, this might be like the second of 3 premium races. If I remember from a while back, they do like 3 premium races for each event week. Like the first day, I believe, continues the one that ended the previous event week. And most of it's the second one, and there's like a third premium race, so it might change to something else towards the end of the event week, by the way. Do keep that in mind. But for now, it is this race for the motorcycle class. So regular time trial for the week is Tongva Valley. So this one pretty much probably would be on the mountains, of course. Like I said, top few options for motorcycles class would probably be best for basically any regular time trial. But obviously, if you're not going to use a motorcycle, you're pretty much probably going to be using a supercar. Not to mention, of course, that rocket boosted vehicles, since the previous DLC are no longer usable in time trial, since they doubled the pay, they decided to disable rocket powered vehicles. And again, I did mention the top few options for supercars earlier in the stream, and that was the from greatest to least would be, I believe it's the Progen Emirates first, then beneath that would be the Krieger. It might actually swap places for top speed, so Krieger might be the best bet for top speed, whereas Emirates would be best for a lap time. However, still very comparable for both. So yeah, it's Emirates, Krieger, and then S80RR I believe is the next one down, and then the Wagner still from like way back in gun running. Those would be the best few options for supercars again. And RC Bandito time trial is construction site 2, I believe. Yes, it is. So sadly I don't have a time trial guide for this one yet, because like I've mentioned, it hasn't been the easiest thing for me, especially with the stuff going on right now, because I would rather like focus on completing some like game collection, which I haven't for like years and years. It's kind of a good opportunity for me to do that kind of thing with the stuff going on since the past couple months or whatever. But in the world, I mean, of course, it's a very obvious thing what I'm talking about. But I have done a guide on the first construction site, and if I were to take a guess, the strategies would probably be just about the same between the first and second construction site, RC Bandito time trials. Obviously in the future I'm probably going to do some kind of guide on this time trial. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's pretty like similar in terms of strategy between the first and second construction site time trial guides. But yeah, I think GTA Man has a guide on the time trials for the week, the regular and the RC Bandito time trials. I think GTA Man has a guide on those. I think he released it this week, of course. So I will check that out for the time being, of course. There is also a couple money opportunities in the pause menu, of course. I believe they should all be in the stunt races category, by the way. First one is the hot ring circuit races. All of those are 2 times money RP. Hot ring circuit races, I believe pretty much all stunt races in this category pay the same. Which I think they pay max of like 16 or 32,000, accounting for double money. I'm not sure if it's normally like 8,000 or 16,000 max. But they might pay up to 32,000. And yeah, obviously if you want to take the risk of racing with other players, that will obviously get you more money. But even doing these races solo and purposely waiting for the 15-16 minute mark for maximum pay isn't necessarily the worst idea. But yeah, the thing with these hot ring circuit races is they are kind of repetitive, I believe. Like, their layouts are kind of the same. Like, it's hard to explain. They're basically like oval tracks, kind of. It's a like oval track kind of thing for all of them, probably. But yeah, obviously having a customized hot ring saber will be very viable for hot ring circuit races, because that's the only vehicle that can be used. So having a custom version will definitely give you quite the advantage, so I definitely recommend that. More on that later, by the way, because that is a discount, the hot ring saber. Which I believe is the only one of the races, by the way, that are like double money right now that has the associated vehicle on discount. So yeah, I think there's like Izzy Classic ones that are double money, but the Izzy Classic isn't on discount. Yes, indeed. Also double money RP on Izzy Classic races. So once again, having a custom version of the regular Izzy Classic would be very viable. Though personally for me, I wouldn't recommend going for a Izzy Classic and like the arena version of the Izzy Classic. I'd rather go the arena version. Obviously, if you have another like couple 100,000 you don't mind spending, especially with the $500,000 gift, you could easily get a Izzy Classic and some customizations on it. And then also our C races are also double money RP. And by the way, RC Bandito, having a custom version of that doesn't really give you much of an advantage, I would say, for the races. So yeah, there's 15 of those, of course. But yeah, sadly, unlike other kinds of races, having a custom version of the vehicle doesn't really give you much of an advantage, believe it or not. I believe the only advantage it would give you is higher, like, jump, which isn't really anything you have to worry about in the Rockstar created ones. Obviously, it might be more of something if there's player-created RC races, which I don't know if there is the option to make RC races in the creator. I'm not entirely sure. So if anything, having an increased jump boost is the only thing that's really going to help, since I don't think this has like engine upgrades and stuff. So yeah, having higher jump boost would be the only benefit once again. And yeah, like I said, it would only be helpful probably for player-created races, but I don't think they really ever do player-created ones on Double Money RP like they used to. So yeah, those are all the 3 different races. I believe on the newswire it's only mentioned as Severn San Andreas Super, like, sports series or something like that. I believe that's how they referred to it on the newswire. I don't think they went into the specifics still of it being RC races, Z races, and then the hot ring races. So if you were confused what the Severn San Andreas Super Autos or Sports Series, like whatever they called it on the newswire, that's what they mean by that. Is the classic hot ring circuit races and RC and Tito races. I had to check test 2 on Twitter for that, by the way, because, yeah, I think they kind of worded it kind of poorly on the newswire, because there's a lot of races I could count under that, I feel, and that might not be all the different ones from that kind of time frame. Yeah, on the newswire, they just simply refer to it as Severn San Andreas Super Sports Series. They don't refer to it as hot ring circuit races, Izzy classic races, and RC Bandito races. They don't even mention them not specifically. So before I go any further, I will check test 2 on Twitter again, make sure I covered all the races, and yes, it was only those 3 types of races indeed. But yeah, they pretty much all pay around the same, I would say. And yeah, there's quite simply just better money opportunities, so I honestly really wouldn't recommend any of those opportunities unless if they were like the only opportunities for any sort of event week. Then yeah, it would be worth it. So yeah, going to the other money opportunities though. Triple money RP on business battles. There's quite a good strategy for almost perfectly ensuring you'll get business battles. I believe initially when they came out, at least it's like once every 15 minutes, or maybe it was even like less time to wait between each business battle. I feel one should at least spawn every 15 minutes, and I believe the only requirement for them to spawn is if there's like 3 players outside of their apartments and whatnot. So you can be in as small of a like 3-player lobby. You can even do them in invite-only lobbies if you have 3 people like actively on the map, not just seeing in apartments and stuff. I believe that's the bare minimum requirements for having business battles spawn. So it's very ideal to stay between 3 and 5 players in invite-only lobbies. That would be the best way to go about business battles. And of course, if you have really cool friends, and they could of course let you do all the business battles. But that's if you have like really cool friends that don't want to take advantage of that themselves. But obviously, if one person wants to do business battles, of course, the rest of the 2 to 4 or whatever, for 3 to 5 players, like minimum, like preferred, could do special cargo easily. That's obviously the next best thing, I would say, when it comes to this week for money opportunities. So yeah, once again, to recap, 3 to 5 player minimum invite-only lobbies is the best way to go. Reason you want to stay between 3 to 5 players, I don't think I mentioned it yet, is because when you get to 6 or more players, that's when free mode events start spawning. by free mode events, I mean like Hunt the Beast or Criminal Damage, stuff like that. Honestly, there's a good couple to few of those, like normally even. But a lot of them are pretty trash, I would say, so that's why you would want to stay to 3 to 5 players, because otherwise the business battles will be intermixed with free mode events, and the free mode events do like affect the like cooldowns and whatnot for business battles appearing again, because only one can happen at a time. So yeah, that's why 3 to 5 players invite only is the best way to go. So hopefully that helps people who may end up watching a specific moment of the stream for any reason. But yeah, 2 times money P on special cargo. Obviously that's the only business going on right now, so yeah, obviously that'll pretty much be the next best money opportunity. But because that one you have to pay like 18k, upwards of 18k for cargo. Not sure if that's on discount at all. I don't think there's any like buying cargo on discount right now. But yeah, obviously the fact you have to pay money, and it's pretty risk and reward, kind of like for pretty much any business, of course. I wouldn't say it's the #1 because of that reason. Plus, it's double money, whereas business battles is triple money. And yeah, triple money I would assume would apply to the actual product. I'm not sure, in addition to like the small payment you get for delivering business battle goods. Just simply delivering the goods on like normal money, I believe it's like 20-ish K or some shit, upwards like that. And triple money, that would be like 50 to 60k. So it's not only good for getting product for your nightclub, it's also good for getting some money in your bank as well. So you actually get actual money given into your like account or whatever in the game. Like obviously the numbers on screen right now is what I'm referring to. In addition to the stuff that you can sell later on in the nightclub. So you kind of get paid in 2 different ways, which makes it especially good for the business battles. And special cargo, of course, you can only do upwards of 3 of those, and it takes quite a while to build up 111 per warehouse. By the way, for warehouses, I recommend 2 at minimum, because at most you would only need 2 in order to actively like supply your warehouses, because every warehouse has a separate cooldown. So obviously you do 1, you have to wait on the 1, of course, and then you can do the other one, and by the time you're done like sourcing free for that other one, your first warehouse will be ready to source for again. So that's kind of the strategy for special cargo, is just go back to back between 2 like large warehouses. Obviously the people want to make huge bank, so you can easily go upwards to 5 large warehouses, but really it's only necessary, I would say, to own 2 large special cargo warehouses. That's kind of strategy with sourcing, I would say. And then selling, it obviously depends on like the sell missions and stuff. But I feel the special cargo sell missions are some of the easiest ones, and like it's not like the gun running ones where, or like the MC ones where you need like other players for the most part. Pretty much any special cargo sell mission I've easily been able to do myself, just spawning the buzzard through like the CEO menu, so running out of time on those sell missions isn't really a worry on like MC businesses and like bunker business, for example. Probably every business, that one's kind of a hard one to do solo for certain like missions, for certain sell missions if you're over a certain amount. Like, no matter the amount, I believe it's really easy to get it done within a half hour for a sell mission. So it's very solo friendly as well for special cargo. So that's good for solo players, not just like group players, or whatever I should call them. So now to make sure and now to see if I went over every single money opportunity in detail. I think I did. Because then I'll be going into discounts, of course, and my advice with the discounts. Alright, yeah, that was all the money opportunities, so now it's on to discounts. So starting off, there's 40% off laser weapons. So that's basically all the Arena War weapons that were in the game. So the free Arena War DLC weapons were the Up and Atomizer and Holy Hellbringer and Widowmaker. All four, not all four, but all three of those are 40% off right now. So if you want to get your hands on the Up and Atomizer and Holy Hellbringer and Widowmakers, but you haven't done that before, then now is a good opportunity to get a hold of those laser weapons. And if you want some really in-depth opinions on those free weapons, of course, I do have a review of the free laser weapons. I do have a review of that in addition to the Vapid Click that I've done on my channel before. If you want any opinions and insight on those free weapons. And by the way, those are in ammunition. Of course, they're not like Mark II weapons or anything. They're just simple weapons in ammunition. Alright, there's like 6 discounts off the cover. I think only 1 discount this week is a property at all. And I think it's only a base properties, no renovations. So yeah, going into the 1 property discount of this week, it's nightclubs. Hence the triple money RP business battles obviously goes really well with that. So for example, I think the most expensive nightclub is this one, 1.7 mil. That's a little over $1 million for the event week, with it being 40% off. By the way, they don't do increased discounts at the moment for Twitch Prime like they once did. Not entirely sure why, but they don't really up the discounts for Twitch Prime anymore. That's the discount for everybody, is what I mean. And yeah, no renovations. I check another one or 2 just to make sure. Yeah, so you're only getting 40% off on the base nightclubs. No renovations, which sucks. So yeah, sadly if you need storage or anything for your goods for the nightclub, or if you need more garages or something, those aren't going to be on discount. It's just the base property. And yeah, once again, that's it for property discounts. So at first I'll cover the discounts for everybody, then I'll go into Twitch Prime discounts after that. So yeah, starting off is the one I mentioned on my Spectator, which is 40% off the B-11 Strike Force. Now, B-11 Strike Force, in my opinion, is a very disappointing aircraft, believe it or not. Yeah, what it's based on and whatnot, I'm sure is very cool, and the bird, sound of the machine gun that they replicate in the game is pretty awesome, I would say. But in terms of an actual, vehicle and what it does, there's much better out there than the B-11 Strike Force, believe it or not. So, B-11 Strike Force, what's so bad about it when it has all these different weapons? Well, the explosive cannon, it's not a Hydra or a laser or even a Savage explosive cannon, which are the top tier explosive cannons, basically the ones from day 1 of the game, aside for the Savage and Hydra, which were from the Heist update. But they pretty much basically reused the laser explosive cannons anyways, so that's why I grouped those 2 with the laser. But yeah, the explosive cannon on this thing, you actually have to be surprisingly accurate with it to destroy even civilian vehicles, if I recall. So destroying civilian vehicles with the explosive cannon is even kind of a pain. So obviously that means worse for like armored vehicles. But I'm sure it can be pretty okay and kind of decent for air targets, of course. And if I recall from what I hear, it's kind of meant to be kind of a ground, like, air vehicle. Like, it's supposed to be able to prioritize ground targets, but honestly, the cannon's probably better for air targets. So yeah. Also, I want to make sure quickly that, yeah, okay, I got out my MC, because I did go in my MC to spawn the oppressor, and I didn't want 30k in fucking business fees. There's not much in there. Or stock. So yeah, explosive cannon on this is honestly pretty iffy, I would say, in my opinion. It's not a very good explosive cannon. Similar to the rogue cannon, I would say, from Smuggler's Run. It's pretty comparable to that one, except it's a single explosive cannon instead of like one on each wing, so it's probably easier to aim with than the rogue, so it's better than that explosive cannon, I would think, at least. But yeah, like I said, there's a couple vehicles with better explosive cannons. And the missiles. Believe it or not, there's actually limited missiles on this vehicle. Pretty much any aircraft in the game, in this game of course, has unlimited missiles, which is great. But this one only has 30 missiles, so that's free over here and free over there. So basically, both wings get 5 sets of missiles, so that's 30. Because 6 times 5, of course. And there's nothing even that special about the missiles either. They're normal lock-on, just like buzzard missiles. You can probably spam the missiles, of course, like the Akula and Hunter and whatnot, for example, so it doesn't have the annoying cooldown as like the buzzard and like Hydra, laser, and like rogue other vehicles like that. But still, even with being able to spam them, there's obviously vehicles with better missiles like the Deluxo, the Stromberg, Press Mark II. Deluxo being the strongest example, having better missiles than even Mark II and the Stromberg, I'm pretty sure. But anyways, my point should be understood at that point. So yeah, for whatever reason, I decided to give this vehicle limited missiles on pretty much every other like plane or jet in the game can have unlimited missiles. So that's quite a bummer. And also, in addition to the regular missiles, it has the barrage missiles, which I believe those ones should be unlimited. So if you do want unlimited missiles, you can use the barrage missiles still, I'm pretty sure. But for regular missiles, they're limited. The ones that can actually lock on, which definitely sucks a lot and ruins a lot of the potential of this vehicle, I would say. In addition to it's simply not as effective explosive cannon. But yeah, basically this vehicle is best at dogfighting if you like to dogfight with other players for any reason, just for the fun of it. It's mainly just a vehicle for fun, to be honest, not actually that effective, I would say, for businesses or anything. There's other vehicles for every sort of purpose that are better in the strike force. I'd say it's the only plane though in the game that has the barrage missiles though, so at least that's something, in addition to it being very good for dogfighting from my understanding. But those are pretty much only 2 good reasons for gaining a strike force, in my opinion. And from what I understand. Then a final discount on this website, and that's also for everybody, because there's no Total Prime discounts on this website, is the Pegassi Oppressor. Honestly, I pretty much use this vehicle in all my event week streams anymore, because I don't really like the Mark II nerfs, not that much tryhard or anything. It just kind of makes it annoying for grinding, obviously, as well, the changes they made with the Mark II. So honestly, I really enjoy this vehicle, because it's very good for getting to point A to point B. In fact, I would kind of argue it's the best point A to point B vehicle. when it's not a plane. I think Pyro, I believe, is the best one. Pyro from Smuggler's Run, I think, is the best for point A to point B travel in general. But obviously for motorcycle, nothing beats the Oppressor in terms of point A to point B. This and the Mark II obviously have different uses for point A, point B, which one's better and whatnot. Professional. The Professional has a great video on that, by the way. From like a way while ago, but it's still relevant, of course. But yeah, this you can get machine guns, or you can get missiles, of course. Not like the Mark II, where you can also get explosive cannons. There's only straight up machine guns and missiles. However, unlike the Mark II, you do have to have a bunker, and you do have to research for the missiles, at least. Machine guns might already be unlocked, but machine guns are pretty useless on this, and pretty much just about any other vehicle. So yeah. And unlike the Mark II, the missiles on the regular Oppressor are like normal buzzard missiles when it comes to the cooldown. So they're nothing very overpowered, but obviously it's better than nothing. Unlike most like civilian-ish vehicles in the game. So yeah, it's definitely a very great buy for point A to point B travel, and also being able to instantaneously spawn it from the MC menu. And unlike the Mark II, there's no restrictions on it with the MC menu, which was added with the latest update. Or latest DLC. So yeah, I would say between the two on this website, the Oppressor is definitely a much better buy than the Strike Force. Because this thing's potential is ruined by having limited missiles and not a very good explosive cannon, in my opinion. By the way, Insurgent Pickup is not actually on discount, it's glitched up at the moment. And same applies to the Buzzard, it's not actually on discount, it's just glitched up. So there's just one more discount for every single player in the game. The other two discounts are only going to be for Twitch Prime users like myself. And this isn't it, by the way. That's a Twitch Prime discount in addition to the 811. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier with the Hot Ring Saber races, the Hot Ring Saber is on discount. And it's a massive 60% off discount, which makes it under 350,000 right now. And I don't think this has a trade price, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I think the only thing you really unlock from the Hot Ring circuit races is liveries, which is the best thing about this vehicle, is there's actually unlockable liveries by doing more Hot Ring circuit races. But yeah, best use for this vehicle is going to be having a custom version of the Hot Ring Saber for the races. That's pretty much the best purpose for the Hot Ring Saber. I doubt it's very good in competitivity or anything. So that's pretty much all there needs to be said about that vehicle. So yeah, as I showed earlier with Legendary Motorsport, there's like a single discount on here, but it's only for Twitch Prime, and that's going to be the P-Fister 811. So yeah, 811 is way back from the Finance and Felony DLC from like June 2016 or whatever. So it's quite an aged vehicle. Though I do believe it's still very good for top speed, believe it or not. I believe this thing might still be the king for top speed in the super class. And that's not putting into account for rocket-powered vehicles. I'm sure that might make other vehicles better if they have a rocket boost. But for raceable vehicles, it's still pretty much the #1 option for top speed, if I recall right. So yeah, it's actually a very good discount, believe it or not, because it's very monstrous for top speed in the super class, being released like almost 4 years ago at this point. But yeah, the lifetime I'm pretty sure is pretty poor on this vehicle, but for top speed circumstances, very good investing in a 811 from what I recall. I would refer to roughly 1322 as he goes into specific lap times and top speeds. And final discount for the event week is the Class A Drift Yosemite. And once again, it's only for Twitch Prime. By the way, the P-Fister 811 is actually 80% off, so obviously that's pretty much the best price you're going to get on an 811. It's very good to invest into it for top speed. But yeah, as for the Drift Yosemite, I believe Drift Yosemite is also in the muscle class, just like the regular Yosemite. However, I don't think it's better than the regular Yosemite. Regular Yosemite is still better for performance. Obviously, this is a drifting vehicle, so it's more for like turning and like corners and stuff. So yeah, because it's a drift vehicle, it probably doesn't handle very well. So if you're going for competitivity, the regular Yosemite is still the best. So if anything, you're simply want to get this one for customizations, or if you simply like the vehicle. So a lot of regular vehicles are mainly for personal preference. But yeah, it pretty much covers every single discount. By the way, trade price for this vehicle, you have to use it as a getaway vehicle for the Diamond Casino Heist. That's how you unlock the trade price. And if I didn't mention it, P-Fister 811 is 80% off, and the Class A Drift Yosemite is 60% off. But yeah, that's probably pretty much going to be it for the stream. Next stream's probably going to be a Red Dead Online event week stream, of course, knowing me. Because I haven't been the most, like, not so busy person recently. That's fine, I want to be it for a stream. Hope you enjoyed.